Hey you, and welcome to Happy Sex Ed. I am really excited about today's video because I'm finally going to do another video analysis. We are going to watch 2.5 Men, and I'm actually super excited about that because 2.5 Men was one of those shows I would always watch when it was summer break. I would be just home alone and I would rewatch all the old 2.5 Men episodes. So it has a special place in my heart, even though my expectations are especially low for this one. But I'm excited to do it. I am excited to get some nostalgia. And yeah, as always, we're going to analyze the sexual relationships as well as how gender and identity is portrayed. And we're just going to look at some dynamics between the characters when it comes to sex and relationships. And yeah, not feeling too good about this one, but still I'm excited. So grab your popcorn and let's jump in. One thing I also want to mention before we start, I always say this, but it's always true. If you have fun watching 2.5 Men, like I also used to, great, that's fun, that's nice, and that's what we want. However, I think it is super nice to also be mindful of all the messages that you are unconsciously absorbing, because there is a lot, and not all of it is good.
Darling, do your thing when you hear the beep.
Listen, you lousy SOB, I will not be treated like this. Either you call me, or you are going to be very, very sorry. I love you, Monkey Man.
Charlie? Who is that?
Damn telemarketers. Okay, it's a woman I went out with once, and she got a little clingy.
You are a bad, bad boy.
And yet, you're always the one getting spanked.
Now, in this scene, there's already quite a bit to unpack. We are introduced to Charlie. He is one of those classic ladies' man tropes, and he is in his bedroom with a woman. This is the way we're going to see him many times throughout the show. Well, now what happens? He gets a call from a woman he used to date. She's on the phone quite desperate, wanting to talk to him. Instead, he avoids her. When the woman he's now with asks, "Who is that?" he says, "Oh, well, it's just the telecompany." So he lies. This is something that we see a lot. Men lying and getting away with it. And then when she then gets the truth out of him, his reaction is to just say, "Oh yeah, she's so clingy." Which later we're going to find out that Rose is in fact a little bit extreme. But still, the way the woman reacts to that is not very nice, because her reaction is, "Oof, you're such a bad boy." But it almost seems like it's a positive thing that makes him desirable. Unfortunately, this is something that we see a lot. Men getting away with lying about relationships and it being portrayed as funny, or even they are being portrayed as really desirable because they just get so many girls. And especially because the other woman finds this funny, it really sends the message that men's behavior is okay. Even the woman approves. So then, of course, it must be fine, right? The next thing is that even though she calls him a bad boy, and of course she laughs about it, Charlie says, "Oh, but you're always the one who gets spanked." Which, there's nothing wrong with spanking, right? That's great, and they both seem to enjoy it, so that's good. However, it's such a cliche. Of course, the man is the one who does the spanking. Of course, the woman is the one who receives the spanking. And this is just something that we see so much. It's just, everything is just very cliche, and the gender roles are very, very fixed. That is something that this show really perfected. Very fixed gender roles.
Yeah, I'm a good husband. I'm faithful.
Is she?
Is she what?
Faithful.
Now, this scene is also really interesting. So obviously, Alan thinks that he's a great husband because he's faithful. This seems like very little and kind of the bare minimum. However, for him, it seems like that is all what it takes to be a great husband. When then Charlie asks him if she's faithful, he laughs as if that's not even a question. So he takes it completely for granted that his wife is faithful, but he wants some kind of award for being faithful to her. Unfortunately, that is something we see over and over again. The idea that it doesn't take much for men to make a marriage work, except maybe be faithful and loyal. And that's already quite an accomplishment. But it's something that is so taken for granted from women, which is interesting because if you think about for whom would it be easier to just go out there and cheat on your partner, on average, a woman would have a much easier time to just find someone to have sex with. So that makes the whole thing especially ridiculous, doesn't it?
Don't be ridiculous. I mean, Judith doesn't even like sex. I mean, all she kept saying was she feels suffocated, you know? She kept going on and on. I'm suffocating. I mean, what does that mean? You know, has a woman ever said that to you?
Malin says Judith doesn't even like sex. No, if Judith isn't asexual, which we are not being suggested in any way, that is very unlikely. What she doesn't like is clearly sex with him. And oftentimes, when there is no sex, there are some deeper underlying intimacy issues. Maybe he doesn't listen to her, or maybe there are problems that he doesn't know how to deal with. And to be honest, it seems quite like that, because from what we hear from him, he doesn't seem to think that he has to put work into his marriage, so it's not that big of a surprise. What I also find really funny is that in those shows, when a couple stops having sex, it's always portrayed as if the man is such a victim in this situation. Like he is the one who doesn't get what he wants. But women are also sexual beings. So the woman also is not having a nice and satisfying sex life right now. Maybe she's the one not wanting it, but there are always deeper issues. So in the end, both are not in a nice situation. Both are not having sex. And that's probably really sad for both. But this way of thinking that, oh, the man is the victim and the woman is denying him sex, it really goes again into this stereotypical view of sex, that sex is something that the woman gives to the man, and it's like this transactional idea of sex, which is very toxic. So when a couple stops having sex, let's think about it in terms of two people missing something and needing to find an idea how they can find the joy in sex again. It's a couples exercise to create the necessary intimacy to get into a situation again where both really want to have sex.
Look, okay, this is just until things settle out. A couple of days max. She will come to her senses.
Yeah, that's what women do.
Oh, how lovely. So Alan is hoping that his wife is gonna come to her senses, because obviously leaving him must mean that she is insane, because why would she leave someone who is faithful? That's already amazing, right? That's so much more than you can expect. Well, that's the way he's portraying it. She must be insane. Then Charlie's little remark further enhances the idea that women are a little crazy. Yay! I recently saw a reel on Instagram that I thought was quite funny, where someone was saying when a guy says his ex is insane, she always immediately wonders, what did you do to her to make her crazy? And yeah, while this is not always the case, of course, I did think it was funny and kind of accurate in this case, because, I mean, Judith is kind of breaking up with Alan for what we later see seem very valid reasons.
Good night, monkey man.
In this scene, we meet Charlie's stalker, the woman that called before, the woman called Rose. So Charlie having a stalker in this show functions as multiple things. First of all, he has a stalker to further show just how desirable he is and just how out of their way women would go to be with him, because he's just that great. However, unfortunately, stalking is a very real and very scary and serious topic, and to portray a stalker in a way that is just there to prove a point but also to be funny is quite problematic. Furthermore, it's also interesting how they chose a woman stalker, and while female stalkers exist and they are very serious, 90% of stalkers are men. So it is interesting that they chose a woman to be portrayed as a stalker, because this also again plays into the idea that women are crazy and needy and would go out of their way to be with the man they want, which we see a lot of times in this show, especially to make Charlie look as hot as possible. But yeah, again, I really want to emphasize the main thing here is stalking, unfortunately, is portrayed for laughs. Stalking is a very real and serious issue, so that is a little bit problematic, no matter if it's a woman or a man.
Now, what I think you need to do is to make a list. On one side, put what you don't like about our marriage, and on the other side, what you do.
Alan, sometimes when I think about coming home to you, I start crying in my car.
Okay, that would probably go on the don't side.
Now, I think this scene is really an excellent description of what is going on in Alan's marriage and also like why it's failing. Obviously, he's not listening to his wife whatsoever. She shares something with him that should make him a little bit shocked. The fact that she cries in her car because of the idea to come home to him. That is a huge statement. And he simply dismisses it by saying, oh yeah, put it on the con list. But still thinks like, we can fix this, we can fix this. But he literally, like the problem is, it's good that he wants to fix things. He shows commitment and care in that sense. However, he does nothing that would help to fix it in any kind of way. He doesn't listen. He doesn't really try to understand where she's coming from. He just wants to put a plaster on it and move on as quick as possible, which that never works.
You two are really good together.
Thank you.
So does your wife sing too?
Oh, no, I'm not married.
What a shame.
Wow. You're even better than a dog.
This scene may look quite harmless. We just have Charlie in the supermarket. A pretty woman is approaching him because she thinks he's good with the boy and he's happy about it, right? But not quite. What he says, you're even better than a dog, implies that sometimes he goes out there with a dog to attract women, to seem sensitive and approachable, kind and warm. He loves animals, you know, women love that. And he uses that to get them into bed. Now, that is quite problematic. Consent always has to be fully informed to really be consent. So if you lie, either directly or by showing yourself as someone that you're not, so you're sleeping with someone or someone sleeps with you under false pretenses, that is not how it should be, and then we cannot really talk about fully informed consent. And that is actually really bordering something very problematic. And even it's just this tiny moment, it kind of normalizes the idea that it is okay to lie or deceive a little bit to get women to go out with you. And that is really dangerous.
Dr. Bloom. Yes, this is Alan Harper. Yes, my wife and I need to cancel our marriage counseling appointment for this afternoon. Yes, well, something came up.
Honestly, to this, I just want to say that I think it's great that they're trying marriage counseling. However, obviously it's not working, because I think the main thing you learn in marriage counseling is how important it is to listen and to understand each other and make space, which clearly Alan is not doing. But, you know, I think it's good that they're trying.
Yeah, I can smell him.
Smell who?
Your brother. He has a very musky scent. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's okay.
Here we see something that we see over and over and over and over again. Charlie is desirable. He is so manly. He has a sexy, musky smell, and Alan really doesn't. all over the show we see the comparison between Charlie and Alan. Charlie being the desirable guy, the guy who sleeps with a lot of women, who is rich, who has his life settled, and Alan, who has a chiropractor, has a normal job, has marriage problems, and unfortunately the show portrays him as being less of a man, of being less desirable because of those things, and also as being weak for trying. He really wants to try with his wife Judith, and he wants to fix things, and while clearly he doesn't have the tools to do so, he does want to, which is always portrayed as funny, as ridiculous, as weak, and as pathetic, which is quite sad, because it is good to fight for your relationship. Clearly, he's not fighting in the way he should. I mean, I am totally acknowledging he doesn't do it in the right way. However, even the fact that he is trying and he wants to make it work, sometimes he's shown as weak, and we always see him in comparison to Charlie losing because he's less of a man. And this idea of less of a man, less sexy, unfortunately, we see that so often in TV shows, and it's just really sad because this guy that is Charlie, most women would not want that. However, a lot of men think that is what women want because that's always the guy the women go for in those shows.
Hey, pal, of the two of us, I'll bet I'm the only one who slept with a married woman recently.
And isn't that something to brag about?
Now, there's quite a lot to unpack with Charlie saying, I think out of the two of us, I'm the only one who slept with a married woman recently. Yeah, again, Charlie is mocking Alan because of his lack of sex, because sex is really seen as something that makes a man valuable and successful, as something that he gets for being a good manly man. And Alan is not that. He's not rich. He has problems, so he doesn't get that. And it's just a little bit sad. And especially the idea that sleeping with a married woman as a single guy is somehow a good thing. I have noticed that sometimes in shows that because the woman is with someone else, the guys see it as like an extra barrier, but that makes the success in the end even greater, which is a very, very problematic way of seeing sex. And to think that, I mean, cheating can really, really hurt the person the woman is with, but can also cause a lot of regret and pain in her. And to, play with that and to play with people this way is just, not very ethical and not very mindful.
What's important is that we're here and we're working on our marriage. You look great, by the way. Must be all the extra oxygen they pump into the casinos. And you were right. I see now that the time apart did us both a lot of good. I know I've grown. I am not that suffocating guy you threw out of the house 4.5 days ago, let me tell you that.
Alan.
And Jake's doing fine. I know you were concerned about him being around my brother, but it turns out Charlie's great with kids. And I think that we're going to look back on this as a new beginning for our marriage, a rebirth, a renaissance, if you will.
Alan, I think I'm gay.
All right. We'll make a list. On one side, we'll put gay stuff.
Unfortunately, here we see very much also again what is the problem with their marriage. I mean, clearly she's gay, so anyway, there's a major problem with their marriage. But also, like, not even that information makes Alan listen to her. There is really nothing she can say or do to make him listen to her. And he's clearly not acknowledging her needs and wishes whatsoever. I mean, clearly their marriage cannot be a fulfilled one if she is not attracted to men. But he cares so much just about himself and keeping the marriage alive that he doesn't even care. So that shows a deep core problem. Alan only cares about himself.
How come you don't have any kids?
I don't know. Maybe because I love me more than anything in the world.
This I also find quite interesting because honestly, fair point, I don't judge. However, I do think that we don't really see something like that much if it was the other way around. If it was a woman saying, yeah, I think I love myself more than anything else, so I don't want to have kids. People would be very fast to call her selfish, self-centered, to call her, to tell her she's not really living her purpose. But of course with a man, wow, okay, that's funny, he's independent, he's great. It's like, it feels like there is quite a double standard there, and it just reinforces those very cliche roles, unfortunately.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah?
You ever think about having kids?
Whoa, Charlie, we got a good thing going. Can't we just leave it at that?
What are you doing? I thought we were gonna have sex.
How am I supposed to have sex? Well, your biological clock is going off.
Rose, it's me, Monkey Man.
Charlie?
Yeah, hey, listen, let me ask you a question. Is there something inherently wrong with asking a woman you're involved with if she wants kids?
Oh, Charlie, we got a good thing going. Why do you want to mess it up?
Now we have a little scene that I really appreciate because this scene is kind of playing with gender roles for the very first time in this episode. It's reversing them. It's actually mocking Charlie for wanting to have kids and even saying his biological clock is ticking, which is a very toxic statement, but usually only women hear. So playing with that a little bit and bringing a little bit of reverse gender roles in there actually was a breath of fresh air, and that felt a little bit more progressive. Obviously, I don't appreciate this scene because now we should be pressuring men to have kids. It's just the fact that they are playing with reversing the roles a little bit that I really appreciate.
Alan, we've got to get him away from her. I mean, look what happened to us.
And what happened to you?
Hi, Mom.
You know what I find really funny? Charlie's mom, well, Charlie's and Alan's mom, is portrayed as the worst person in the world. She's so cold, so egocentric, very rich, very independent. But when I was watching this episode, I couldn't help but think, wow, she's exactly like Charlie. And when Charlie does it, somehow it's charming and desirable and he's so cool and manly. But when she does it, she's such a cold witch and there shouldn't be a boy close to her because that's not good for the kid. And I kept thinking wow, these two are so similar. And it felt like there were again some double standards at play.
I am not comfortable with this. I mean, maybe I should go wait in the car.
You're not waiting in the car. Trust me, this is a great way to meet women.
I don't want to meet women. I'm still married.
Come on, your wife's out meeting chicks. Why shouldn't you?
It's got us 10 corners and me. It's the sweetest breakfast treat. It's maple, 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 delicious.
Your son is just adorable.
Oh, thank you.
You and your life partner must be so proud.
You're right. Go wait in the car.
And the wonderful episode starts as great as it began, with a classic gay panic joke. Of course, it is super embarrassing that someone could think that the two men are together, so they have to separate as quickly as possible. And that, of course, shows that being gay is embarrassing. It's something that you should hide. And if someone thinks you're gay, that is a bad thing, which then also means that being gay is a bad thing. At least that is how it's shown. I'm so tired of those jokes. I feel like I have literally talked about them in every show we have seen so far. I think actually in everyone. It's such a cliche, but it's still there. I am really curious how this is going to develop if I'm starting to comment on a bit more modern shows. Yeah, I have high hopes. We have come to the end of this video. I am so happy you're here. I hope that you enjoyed this little analysis. I think it's really one of my favorite types of videos to make. And I would really appreciate if you let me know which show you want to see next. It can be an early 2000s show like we usually do, but it can also be a more modern one. So let me know. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you came... What? I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!